All right, William. First of all, let's sort of catch up as to where we are then at the minute. You played this game last night. Obviously, a number of players were ill, but and continuing to play anyway. What's the situation today? How is everybody after that?
The players that weren't well are obviously not in. They've stayed at home to recover, so we've just got a small group in today. Just try and train with a few that are out there on the pitch, and I think it's just about trying to get everybody as recovered as possible, as fast as possible.
Is that going to be damaging? The fact that those who are ill have then gone out and played a football match. How damaging is that for them in terms of being fit for the weekend, for
I mean,
instance?
it's not ideal because obviously recovery takes longer, and I spoke to one or two of them this morning, and they were not feeling great. But I hope that they can get some rest and yeah, prepare for Saturday as well as we can.
There are people asking why, when you've got so many players ill or injured, was the game even played? Why was it?
Um, I don't know. We placed a request with the league, a formal request for both this game and the Dagenham one to be taken into consideration that they're postponed based on the volume of players that we had unavailable via illness, sickness and an injury. We were down to 12 training, but the league regulations stated that if we had 11 available players to play the game, and they made that inclusive of loan players on the recall. Michael Doyle, who's a non-contract player still registered, counted in that cohort. So we met the criteria for the game to go ahead, but the reality is that we didn't have a one single well fit defender, and I had to ask a lot of the boys that played at the back yesterday. I mean, we literally had conversations on the Monday about who could play centre half if they were too unwell to play, and we were talking about, will Carl Wootton go there? Matty Palmer said he could play middle of a back three. These were the kind of conversations we were having. So I should stress that Stockport were absolutely outstanding. Played a absolutely fantastic game, and we went away to comfortably the best team in the league that I have seen. They've won 17 of the last 18 and drawn one. And of course you want to go there with your full complement fit to give yourself the best possible opportunity. And as good as Stockport were, I knew that we were up against it, and yeah, we placed the request in, but it was rejected. And then we had a decision to make. Do we try to get these players through this game and see if we can dig a result out, or play recall Lewis Knight and play Michael Doyle? And it was a difficult decision. The players said that they felt like they could try and get through it, which I was proud of them for that. But yeah, it was a far from ideal situation, to be honest.
But when you say you got players playing who were poorly, surely that question of whether somebody is well enough in order to be included or not, that's like a debatable point, isn't it? If you've got players who are poorly, couldn't you just say they're completely unavailable, and that would reduce your squad numbers down to below 11, wouldn't it?
No, because I think with the players that were injured and the players that were ill, we had 11 available. But like I say, when we count in the 11, we're including Michael Doyle, Lewis Knight coming back, and with all due respect, we didn't have any. It's not positional. It's not like you have no defenders. So we had no defence. So the choice was play with the only fit and healthy players that we have. But it would be a very odd team where we have, maybe Carl Wootton centre back, or we have to ask a few players to see if they're capable of playing, and they were prepared to do that. And yeah, of course they found it a challenging game, and it made it all the more challenging that Stockport were so good as well. But yeah, it was a difficult. It's been a difficult 48 hours, to be honest, and in the club with a lot of decisions to make that haven't necessarily been that easy. But listen, the players really dug in, and they gave everything that they got, and it wasn't enough against a really good team, but I admire them for that.
Could you have refused to play? Was that an option?
Yeah, of course, but then we forfeit the game, and we didn't want to do that either. We didn't feel that that's the right thing to do. So we did our best with the hand that we'd got, And now the only thing for me is that we really need to just try to recover everybody as well as we can. Brindley was back training, feeling better today. Jim O'Brien back on the pitch today again, so we might be closer to having a few bodies back for the weekend, which would be a massive boost for us, to be honest.
Given that you weren't successful in getting the Stockport game called off, I assume you're not hopeful of getting a more positive result from your request to get Saturday called off either.
No chance. So we're going to have to. We're going to have to check in with the boys that are not here today. They get today to rest, tomorrow to rest, Friday hopefully a little bit of training, and we can bring them all together and hopefully freshen them up for the weekend.
This idea that you only need to have 11 players to be able to field a game in a professional league with so much at stake, is that fair?
It's strange because the reality is 6 weeks ago, if we placed this request, the game would never go ahead. No chance. We had games called off earlier in the season, and I think I made it clear earlier in the season we will always do everything we can to play games. We did it. We had Wrexham at home. I think we had only 2 fit available subs, healthy players on the bench that day, but we were prepared to do everything we could to play the game, despite many thinking that we should call it off. We did everything we could to get it on. We've done that the whole way through. We've continued with all of the protocols to keep everybody as healthy as we possibly can, do everything that we can right, but we were in a situation at the start of this week that I felt we were really struggling, and we were looking for some support in that, and we didn't get it. So like I say, 4 to 6 weeks ago, I think there would be no question whether that game would be off. This time it was on, and we had to get through it. And like I say, I don't want to be the guy that's taken anything away from Stockport, because they're having a marvellous season, brilliant. But I'm just talking about our own situation and what we had to deal with, and I think it's just important that we let people know where we were at this week.
But you're right, the government guidance, of course, has changed around this, and that means before the National League was sort of following the EFL rules, weren't they, of 11 and 3 subs was what you needed. Shouldn't that rule have stuck? Shouldn't that be the case, that teams still need to be able to have that many players?
Yeah, for me, I think the league should have reviewed it and made a sensible decision, but they didn't. So I can't. At the end of the day, we can only put forward all of the evidence and the stuff that had happened internally. They should know that it's the first time that we've asked for anything this season. It's not like we've thrown stuff in before. This was genuinely a problem for us. We put it forward, but it was knocked straight back. So at that point, we had to make some tough decisions. So yeah, it would make much more common sense, but I don't control that. We did our best in the situation, and we tried to be as open and frank as possible. But we didn't get what we felt we needed.
You will have a new player available for this weekend, of course, in Harry Arter, a very experienced player, used to play much higher up in the leagues as well. Tell us about that transfer, how that's come about.
Yeah, I have to say it was mainly driven by Harry. He reached out and I think he had a possible loan deal in January, but it just fell through, and then was looking at what he can do, and obviously he's not had the minutes that he wanted to at Nottingham Forest, and he's a football player and really wants to play football, and I think he'd seen us play and heard about the way we play, and was very keen just to see if there was an opportunity to get back on the pitch, and if he could help us and we could help him. And we reached out to Forest, and Forest were great. They were very receptive to try to help each other on this. And for me, at this stage of the season where we're at, bringing in somebody with that quality, with that level of experience into a young group, we've got a lot of young players that are developing and learning, to bring somebody in with his experience and qualities is massive for us at this stage of the season. So really happy to get him in and get him on board.
And how significant is that part of it that you said there, that it was largely driven by him? Because it'd be very easy for a player, an experienced player in the Championship, just to sort of sit and take the money, frankly, but to actively be searching to go out and play football elsewhere, that says a lot about him, doesn't it?
I think it speaks volumes of him. because it's very easy, like you say, even to look down from the Championship at National League and think, I'm not going down there, I'm not prepared to do that. Or but he was, look, I want to play football. He knew he's played here before. Said he scored here actually, penalty I think, and good memories of the stadium, and knows that it's a big club. And was really just hungry to play football. You know, that was the most important thing. And I think when you hear a player coming from where he's come from, that hungry to be around it, I think that, yeah, like you say, speaks volumes about him.
The bits that we've seen of him when he's playing for Forest, he's kind of on the front foot, likes to carry the ball forward a little bit, can get things moving a little bit. What are you hoping he'll bring into your team?
Yeah, exactly that. A bit of experience into the middle of the park. I think he can control games, drive the play forwards. And certainly can organises. You know, it's key moments. Sometimes, you know, we've been ahead in a lot of games, ahead against Grimsby, ahead against Chesterfield, we're ahead against Solihull, and sometimes you just need that little bit of decision making capabilities in there that can just make good choices to enable us to see games through. And I think he can certainly help with that.